All right. So I guess I will get going. Well, effectively, I walked into the office this morning and I was met with the words, "What the hell are you doing here?" And I am here to talk about what it's like being a special needs mum and still working. And I don't think anything illustrates this better than the story of my week so far. I was in the office on Monday, and I work flexi hours, so I come in early and I leave early, but on Monday we had a late meeting that I really wanted to attend. So that was sort of the start of working special needs mum, was liaising with my daughter Elin's carer, who works with us on Mondays, and say, "Can you stay a bit later just to make Rob's life a bit easier?" So I came home pretty much in time for bedtime, which meant getting Elin's medicine sorted and giving them to her, and brushing her teeth, taking her upstairs, putting her to bed, and then sitting with her and help her relax and go to sleep, because she can't do this. And it took a while, because she had a few seizures, which were a little bit longer and a little bit stronger than I'm perfectly happy with. But she went to sleep, and so I went to bed. And I would like to say I went to sleep, but I didn't. I was lying there worrying about her. And after a couple of hours, I hear some very distressed sounds from her room, and I go in and she's having seizures. Now, Elin doesn't have seizures every time. She's not medicated every day. Instead, we have a 2-step rescue plan for her. And the first step is a medicine called clobazam. So I gave her that in the hope that she would settle and the seizure activity would taper off, because what happens otherwise is that she goes into a really nasty spiral, and then the seizures start triggering vomiting, and we can't stop that. And of course, once she's emptied her stomach, what comes up is acid, and then the acid burns her, and then what we get coming up is blood, and it's all really quite dramatic. And the clobazam did not work. Step 2 in our care plan is a medicine called buccal midazolam, which is a really strong opiate, and it can cause a floppy airway. So when we administer buccal, we also pick up the phone and we call 999. So on Tuesday morning, Elin and I got to ride the Nino car into hospital, which was really fun. And being a working mum, I spent that ambulance ride emailing my line manager, letting him know that I was not going to be working. Please come in, Chris. And arrange childcare for my other daughter, so that somebody was looking after her and we didn't have to drag her into hospital and scare her silly. And also getting hold of Elin's carers and letting them know where they would be working for the next few days. And the upshot of all of this is that Elin is in hospital right now. She has spent the night, she is hooked up on all kinds of wires and tubes, and the doctors are hitting her with literally everything to try and stop her seizing and try and stop her vomiting. And with regards to the question of what the hell I'm doing here, is I'm wearing something nice that nobody's thrown up on. It sucks being a working special needs mum at times. It sucks having to make these choices. It sucks not sleeping and having all of this crap that we have to manage and coordinate and know about, and it's an awful lot extra, and it can be really quite tough. 1 in 5 carers give up work. They can't handle the pressures, and my husband is one of those. So we are quite rare, because usually it's the mums who do. So if you look at the back line, the green and the yellow are fathers in work. So the green is fathers without special needs children, and the yellow is fathers with special needs children. It's not massive change. And then we have a drop for non-caring mums, but the drop into caring mums is obviously quite massive. And I think it's such a shame, because it is deemed to be roughly 2 to 3 times as expensive to bring up a disabled child versus one who's non-disabled. But there is just so much that has to be managed that very often you can't do it. So that's Elin. The reason Elin is disabled is she was born not breathing and suffered quite severe brain injuries because of that. She has quadriplegic cerebral palsy, so her entire body is affected. She has global delay. She's deemed to be cognitively less than a year old. A host of neurological issues, obviously seizure disorder, which is why she's in hospital right now. She's non-verbal, she's non-mobile, she gets the majority of her calorie intake through a feeding tube in her stomach. She goes to special needs school, and getting her off to school can be fun for the whole family. Really, it takes a bit of time. we really love her school, it's amazing, and they're incredibly supportive. And together with school and at home, there's an awful lot of equipment that we use as well. So among her equipment, not that one, wait, come on, do what I want. Among her equipment we have AFOs, which are leg splints, we have a wheelchair, we have postural support seating, a hospital bed, specialist bath seat, specialist toilet seat, we can open a back alley drugstore. Actually the buccal midazolam is a controlled substance, so there are very strong rules about what we're allowed to do with that. There is also, this is going to be easier to do with on the keyboard instead. Also, a lot of care professionals involved in her life. Yeah. Gastroenterologist we see roughly every 3 months. The craniofacial clinician we see every couple of years. The dietitian we see, well, the dietitian sees her weekly. The occupational therapist sees her daily. The physiotherapist sees her daily. The neurologist is definitely going to be coming up very, very soon. She goes to appointments at our local hospital in Bedford, but she also goes to Northampton, Addenbrooke's, Gosh, and Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital. So there's a lot of appointments. It's quite a lot of miles. And as you all know, yet I work full time, and I also run a YouTube channel, because why wouldn't I keep myself busier than necessary? And the reason I can do all of this is because that man right there gave up work. We couldn't do this without a stay-at-home parent. There is just too much going on. And we need somebody who can rush to school and pick her up at absolutely no notice when she's being a bit poorly. He has now been in hospital since midday yesterday. And is looking a bit worse for wear. We don't have family nearby. We're running this show entirely on our own. And it's not like we can just dump Elin on a random babysitter. So I really do think it is a massive, massive shame that so many special needs parents give up work. Because I think we hold an awful lot of skills that an employer can have use of. But why do I make that claim, considering how much I've got on my mind? I have school issues to sort out, transport to coordinate, equipment to order. I need to manage the carers and sort out their payroll, and oh God, I've got to pay the HMRC taxes for that as well next week. There are health issues, obviously, that I worry about. I haven't slept in 6 years. And at any given time, you can be fairly certain I know a child who's in hospital. Right now it's my own child, but I haven't actually seen anybody else I know there today. Last time she was in hospital, the crash alarm went as I stood talking to my friend, and she went, "Oh yeah, that's my son, he stops breathing when he fits." I was like, okay, well, are you not going to go down there? Oh yeah, it's fine. I can't commit. I think the fact that I have actually managed to swing into being here today is pretty good. Because the one thing I can absolutely promise my manager is that I'm going to be living in a hospital room probably about 4 or 5 weeks in the year. I guard my home time like a bloody hawk, and I will never, ever, ever go out for drinks after work. Not happening, sorry, I'm just that shit of a colleague. And on top of that, I'm demanding. I mean, I expect to get allowances for these things. I expect flexible working arrangements, I expect career progression, I expect a certain level of salary, but I do believe that I give an awful lot in return. And amongst the things I give in return is I have become a master at what I call peeing, and it's not that kind. I'm talking about productivity, preparation, planning, project management, all of those kinds of skills that I have had to develop in this. You see, carers know how to get shit done. It used to be that Elin would give me, if I was lucky, 20 minutes, during which I didn't have her literally attached to me. Anybody know how much you can get done in 20 minutes? I see a mum nodding. There's a level of focus here that I think is unparalleled and that I can use at work. And I know that I can get more done in half a day now than I used to get done in 2 days before I had her. So if you want time management and productivity skills, go and ask a carer. Then there's the communication skills. I communicate with a non-verbal 6-year-old and I translate her wants and needs to the people around us. I communicate with doctors, apparently very efficiently, as one of the doctors yesterday said, "You're boss and I'm going to do what you say." I communicate obviously with school, but I also communicate with my colleagues and I communicate with my manager and with our cleaner, and everybody has different communication needs. So when I turned up in hospital yesterday, I said to the doctor, "Elin has grade 2 hypoxic ischemia encephalopathy caused by meconium aspiration." Which is probably not what I will say to you guys. What I will say to you guys is that Elin was born not breathing, and as a result she has quite extensive brain injuries. And nobody else in this room is as old as I am. Negotiation skills. We had to spend 3 years to get Elin diagnosed with cerebral palsy, even though she displayed unmissable signs from about 4 weeks old. It took us 3 years. When we applied for disability living allowance, which is the main benefit available for children like her, she was initially only granted the lowest level, even though she requires 100% one-to-one care. So we have constant negotiation requirements. We're trying to get her little sister some music therapy at our local hospice, which isn't very easy because we think she needs it. And these kinds of skills obviously grow.
Sorry, I missed what you said. What you trying to get?
Music therapy.
Music.
Yeah. I mean, Alice she's doing incredibly well, but she is quite anxious right now because Nuna's not here, Papa's not here, and it's a bit worrying for her. And she's just being dumped on my friend and told to deal with it. So, yeah, not very nice. How about conflict resolution? What do you do when you have a doctor telling you that your child needs or does not need a specific treatment and you disagree? Or you have a care professional that you have zero faith in and you want off your child's team. Both of these are conflicts that we have successfully resolved and skills that I can take with me. Of course, there's prioritizing and delegating. I can't do it all. I am the first person to stand here, hold up my hands and say, I am Superwoman. Actually, my superhero alter ego is Medical Mama. And her main superpower is to get doctors to do what I tell them to do. But no, I can't do it all, and some things have to give. In my life, what tends to give is cleaning. I see very little reason why I should spend several hours every week trying to keep my house reasonably hygienic when I can pay somebody else to do it. If I could afford it, I would get laundry service. There are research skills that we develop. Source validation skill, the ability to see through the bullshit. I had the joy of Googling cerebral palsy, chickenpox vaccine, and found out that my child was either going to die if she gets chickenpox or she's going to suffer if I do vaccinate her. Neither of which are particularly helpful when you're trying to make an informed decision. Do I need to mention multitasking? How about planning? I plan out my work days, weeks and months in advance. I have a beautiful planner in OneNote. These are my templates. And that means that no matter how tired or how distracted I am, I have one place I can go to that tells me. And if anybody wants to see these templates or my planner or wants a copy of them, just come and find me. I sit upstairs next to the sales bell. But yeah, that's life as a working carer. I think working carers need a lot of understanding. We need a little bit of extra slack at times. We need to know that we can still develop our careers. We need to know that we can rely on the flexible working arrangements. But I also think that in return, we give an awful lot. We bring so many skills. I think we bring our caring nature into work and use it to promote a collegiate atmosphere. And I think we are worth every penny in salary. Thank you very much. questions. Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit about the fun and the joy that you have with your daughter? Because I saw some smiles in the first.
Yeah, she's got big smiles. She's really funny. She's beautiful. Okay, so one of the fun things that we're actually having right now is the amount of hugs that we are being given, because we haven't been in hospital for 8 months and they've missed us. But Elin is, she's got a great sense of humour, particularly when babies and children are screaming. That's funny. So having a 2.5-year-old as well, who naturally goes into massive tantrums, has Elin in stitches. And Alice calls her sister Nuna. It comes from her middle name, which is Iduna, and we say Elin, Iduna, Luna, Nuna, 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 to get her to smile. So yeah, Alice is screaming, Elin is laughing, and Alice goes, "It's not funny, Nuna." And it is, it's really funny. Farts are good fun too. So she really uses those. I think, Elin's brought an awful lot of we're tougher. We're tougher in a good way, having her, and we dare to demand, we dare to ask for things, and doing it for her benefit. It's really interesting taking her to the zoo and kind of really unashamedly be the first person onto the steam train at the zoo, and going and using the changing places, and having, just kind of pushing people out of the way for the wheelchair and that kind of stuff. But she got so much out of it. She had such a brilliant time. Going through a tunnel is funny. I don't care about the rhino over there, but the tunnel. Yeah.
How do you balance having the two and sharing your time?
Between Elin and Alice?
Yeah.
Tough at times. At times we separate them, so that one is with my husband and the other one's with me, to give that special time. It's very important for us to have Alice in nursery, even if it is only 2 mornings a week, but she has her situation where she is among able-bodied children, because quite frankly I think she needs kids who push her. At the same time, she goes to special needs playgroups as well, and she's very comfortable in that environment too, which I think is amazing, and I think that gives her so much. But likewise, Elin, we can't just take Elin to a jungle gym's soft play land, because she doesn't get anything out of that the way that Alice does, unless we have a carer with us who can physically pick Elin up and bounce her around. But it's trying to find activities that we can make accessible and do as a family, or activities that we can make sure that they do separately. There are times when we have to shut Alice out. When Elin has projectile vomited over the entire floor, we don't need Alice to come and help us, but we need to make sure that Elin doesn't aspirate and choke, and we need to clean this crap up, and it is a question of literally putting her away and shutting the door and letting her scream, and it's horrible, absolutely horrible having to do that, but we have to, because it's a safety matter. But no, it's not easy. It's not easy. And again, I think the fact that we don't have family nearby, I think Alice misses out on quite a lot actually, because of that. Mm-hmm.
When you first, at the beginning, what was your sort of strategy of sort of letting the company know, and what would you advise if somebody comes across this situation now? What would be their route to kind of get you to where you are now and arrange all the things?
Well, the absolutely first thing, I was on the phone to a colleague who worked here then, and bawling my eyes out, going, my daughter's dying and life's unfair. That was the first thing you were with. I think it was so shocking. It was so shocking to everybody. It was incredibly shocking to us. We were pregnant with a healthy baby, and then everything just went to hell. Literally went to hell. And my poor husband standing there in the operating theatre. On one side of him, they're resuscitating his baby, and on the other side of him, they're trying to save his wife from hemorrhaging. And then she was in NICU, I was in recovery. I didn't even see her for 2 hours. And I remember that I isolated myself so much there at the start. I cut over half of the people in my life out. Anybody who was self-destructive just went. Anybody who I felt was an energy vampire just went. I couldn't have them. And it took quite a while to sort of settle. I felt so awkward every time anybody said congratulations. I felt so awkward. Congratulations on your beautiful baby. Okay, great. I don't know if she's surviving the night. Thanks. And I don't really remember what happened after that in terms of talking to work or anything. I know she was 4 months old before I started surfacing out of the fog of what had happened. I have barely any memories up until that point because it was just so shocking. But I did come back to work, and I did have some really, really good conversations with my line manager at the time and with HR at the time. And I started by going back 4 days a week, but I very quickly realised that I was still working 5 days a week, but got paid less, so I went out full time. But they arranged a place for me to pump because Elin was miraculously able to breastfeed, and I breastfed her until she was almost 2 years old. So I had a place to pump, and I got the flexible arrangements, and we organised things around just to kind of make it all work. It was really hard for my husband because he very quickly became very, very isolated. We didn't really know anybody in the village we lived in, and we weren't really in the roles of the special needs community yet, the way that we are now. But yeah, it was hard. I think we had a colleague who lost her baby. He was born very, very severely disabled, and he died after about 6 months. And she did not come back. And I don't, if we had lost Elin, I don't think I would have. I don't think I could have walked in after that pregnancy and go, well, there's nothing to show for it.
So, being Inclusion Week, we've been talking a little bit about inclusive language. What are the things that people have said that you really could have done without? And how would you like people to
Well, well, I was when our colleague lost her baby, I was standing in the kitchen, and one of our colleagues went, well, he was so disabled, it was for the best. And I just stood there, and I literally couldn't say anything because I would either have screamed or hit her, and it was just because it isn't for the best. It's never for the best. I have had, how can she be disabled? She looks perfect. And she does look perfect. She is one of the most beautiful children on this planet. She really is. And I know I'm partial, but I'm not the only one saying it. She is absolutely stunning, but she's still very, very disabled. And disabled people don't necessarily look. I mean, now she does, that she's older and it's more obvious that she can't walk and that it is definitely a wheelchair, not just a buggy and these kinds of things. But yeah, language like that I do have a bit of an issue with. I don't have an issue with either special needs or disability, but I do come across people who do. I understand why parents get really upset when somebody says, oh, that child is Down syndrome, or that child is CP. No, that they're not, they have. And I guess in terms of being inclusive, in terms of having your children being inclusive, go ahead and stare, and then come up and say hi, because you're going to be greeted with the biggest smile on the planet, and ask about her. I don't mind. And because she can't see you anyway, unless you are this close, really do come up and touch her. And I have so many parents going, oh, don't touch. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead, touch her. You need to actually physically hold on to her for her to notice that you're there. Oh, you need to be careful. She's not going to break. So yeah, I really do invite people to come up and talk to her and ask about her. And sing to her. That always works.
As a company, how helpful have we been? Honestly.
Unbelievable. I feel like Accura's given me more than I could possibly ask for. I really do. I really do. You have been absolutely... I mean, if it wasn't for this speech, I wouldn't be here today. And I wouldn't be working today. And Gio wouldn't care. Well, it's not that he wouldn't care, but work-wise, the whole attitude to Elin's needs is get your priorities in order, and your priority right now is your daughter, and that is just unbelievable. The fact that I did get to set my own schedule, I set the days I work from home, I set my start time, I set my finish time, all of those things has just made life so much easier.
Thank you, Tuba. You are an inspiration.
Thank you very much. And hopefully I have childcare on Friday.